In the mountains of Puebla, where the Necaxa and Tenango dams hold millions of gallons of dark water, there are stories people don't tell outsiders. Stories about something that lives beneath the surface. Something massive. Something that, according to locals, has never stopped claiming victims. Welcome to The Hidden Archive, a documentary channel dedicated to investigating real folklore, unexplained cases, and cultural mysteries from Mexico and around the world. I'm Fernanda. Tonight, we travel to the Sierra Norte de Puebla to document a legend that has persisted for more than a century. A legend that many in the region insist is not legend at all. What you're about to hear comes from testimonies collected over many years, stories passed down through families, whispered among workers, and shared with a caution that suggests something more than folklore. This is the story of the Serpent of Necaxa. Introduction to the legend. The Necaxa and Tenango dams are part of one of Mexico's oldest hydroelectric systems, built in the early 20th century. They are deep, cold, and surrounded by dense mountains and forest. According to generations of residents, these waters are home to something that should not exist. Witnesses describe a massive serpent, not symbolic, not mythical, a physical animal. Estimates place its length between 15 and 20 meters, longer than a city bus. Its body is thick and muscular, with coloring that shifts between gold, copper, and dark brown, allowing it to blend into the murky water. Welcome to The Hidden Archive, a documentary channel dedicated to investigating real folklore, unexplained cases, and cultural mysteries from Mexico and around the world. I'm Fernanda. Tonight, we travel to the Sierra Norte de Puebla to document a legend that has persisted for more than a century. A legend that many in the region insist is not legend at all. What you're about to hear comes from testimonies collected over many years, stories passed down through families, whispered among workers, and shared with a caution that suggests something more than folklore. This is the story of the Serpent of Necaxa. Introduction to the legend. The Necaxa and Tenango dams are part of one of Mexico's oldest hydroelectric systems, built in the early 20th century. They are deep, cold, and surrounded by dense mountains and forest. According to generations of residents, these waters are home to something that should not exist. Witnesses describe a massive serpent, not symbolic, not mythical, a physical animal. Estimates place its length between 15 and 20 meters, longer than a city bus. Its body is thick and muscular, with coloring that shifts between gold, copper, and dark brown, allowing it to blend into the murky water. Some describe a head as large as a dog's. Others say it is flat and triangular, like a viper's, but enormous. It moves silently. It surfaces rarely, and those who see it say the image never leaves them. This is not an ancient god or a mythological creature. It is a cryptid, something that, if real, has avoided scientific documentation while leaving behind fear, stories, and unexplained deaths. Historical context. The Necaxa hydroelectric complex was constructed between 1903 and 1910. Entire valleys were flooded, rivers were diverted, villages disappeared beneath the water. The creation of these artificial lakes transformed the ecosystem completely. What had once been flowing rivers and forested ravines became deep, stagnant reservoirs, isolated, cold, difficult to access. The Sierra Norte de Puebla is one of the most biodiverse regions in Mexico. Even today, parts of it remain remote. In the early 20th century, much of this terrain was unexplored. What lived in its caves and waterways was largely unknown. In many rural communities, water is feared as much as it is respected. It hides what lies beneath. It takes people and does not always return them. Around Necaxa and Tenango, that fear has a name, La Serpiente. Reports of the creature began appearing within a decade of the dam's completion. Workers spoke of it quietly. Fishermen avoided certain areas. Parents warned their children never to swim alone. The stories did not fade, they accumulated. First encounter. The first account comes from the early 1980s near the Necaxa Dam. A man named Esteban worked as a maintenance technician at the hydroelectric plant. Practical and methodical, he was not prone to exaggeration, but when asked about the serpent, his demeanor changed. One morning in late October, Esteban and two co-workers were inspecting spillway gates. The water level was unusually low, exposing parts of the reservoir bed normally hidden beneath the surface. One of the men pointed toward the mud below. At first, Esteban thought it was a log, driftwood, something harmless. Then it moved. He described a body as thick as an oil drum, patterned in brown and gold. It moved in slow, powerful curves, pushing itself through the mud with deliberate force. He could see at least 12 meters of it, and it was clear the rest remained submerged. They never saw the head clearly, but the movement, he said, was wrong. Not like a fish, not like anything that should have been there. The creature slid silently back into deeper water and vanished. Esteban never reported what he saw. He said no one would have believed him. 2 days later, a fisherman's body was recovered near the same area. The official cause of death was drowning. His boat was intact. There had been no storm. Esteban told me, "I don't know what killed him, but I know what I saw." Second encounter. The second account occurred in the mid-2000s at the Necaxa Dam. A woman named Claudia described what happened when she was 17 years old. One warm night in June, she and 3 friends sat near the water. The moon was full, the surface was calm. One of her friends noticed movement about 50 meters from shore. There was no engine sound, no lights, just a disturbance. They saw a long wake forming, smooth and deliberate, stretching across the water. It moved parallel to the shoreline. Then something broke the surface. Just for a moment, a curved section of a massive body rose above the waterline, dark, wet, textured with scales. Then it disappeared again. The water stilled. They left immediately and never returned that night. The next day, they struggled to explain what they had seen, but all agreed on one thing: it was alive. 2 weeks later, a man from a nearby village drowned in the same dam. He had been fishing alone. No one said the serpent killed him. No one had to. Deaths and reputation. Over the decades, dozens of people have drowned in the Necaxa and Tenango dams. This is documented fact. But locals will tell you not all of those deaths make sense. Experienced swimmers, calm water, no storms, boats found intact. Some deaths are discussed only in whispers. An elderly woman who has lived near the dam her entire life told me that when someone dies in the water, people don't always ask how, they ask why. And sometimes the answer is simple. They went alone. They went at night. They didn't respect the water. Parents warn their children. Workers avoid certain areas. Fishermen go out in pairs. There are rules here, even if no one admits why they exist. Theories. So what could explain these sightings? One possibility is an undocumented species. The dams are deep, murky, and isolated. A large animal that surfaces rarely could remain unseen for decades. Another theory suggests an unusually large constrictor adapted to the reservoir environment. While no known species should reach the sizes described, nature occasionally produces anomalies. There's also the psychological explanation. Repeated tragedy in the same place creates stories that give meaning to loss. The serpent becomes a symbol of danger, fear, and respect for the water. None of these explanations fully answers every account, and that uncertainty is where the legend lives. Closing. There is no proof that a giant serpent lives beneath the waters of Necaxa and Tenango. There is also no proof that it doesn't. The witnesses are consistent, the fear is real, and the behavior of the people who live here reflects that belief. Whether the serpent exists as a physical creature or as a shared memory shaped by generations of tragedy, its presence has changed how people interact with these waters. Somewhere beneath the surface, something may be moving. Or perhaps there is nothing there at all. Only depth, only water, and stories told quietly, passed down for more than a century.